Hey everyone, greetings once again. Pastor Carlitos here. Well, I have finally finished my responsibilities of preaching and overseeing the missions conference at our local church this fall. It's been quite a busy time as we've done all these things, but I'm finally finished with those. And so hopefully now, as the new year progresses, I'll be able to get back to doing even perhaps one of these every week. In my last message, I preached, of course, you probably guessed it, I preached a lot out of the book of Revelation. And my last message was out of Revelation 21. And Revelation 21 talks about the new earth, the new heaven and the new earth coming down, and God establishing his reign right here on earth, and all those who believe in Jesus will be able to be in that new heavens and new earth. But when I finished, many people were appreciative because Revelation 21 talks about our eternal home. That's where we will be forever. After God finishes all history, that's where we will be forever. But after I finished, one lady said to me, "How can you talk out of the book of Revelation and not mention the rapture?" Well, as I began to think about that, I realized that her view of the rapture was what mine was for a long time, and that was simply that all future things end with the rapture. We're raptured out and it's all done. We don't have to worry about it anymore. But if you really study people who look at the book of Revelation and people who study the book of Revelation, as I've shared before, it was over a year and a half ago that I shared some of this information before, but I just kind of want to reiterate it. And that is that there's four major ways to look at the book of Revelation. And what I want to do in this video is just give you maybe a 2 or 3 sentence overview of each one of those views. And then in the up and coming videos, I want to expound upon each one. But the first one, and the one that we're most familiar with, and I'll use the big word maybe once, it's called dispensational premillennialism. And what they teach is there's going to be a rapture. All Christians are going to be taken out, and we're going to be with Jesus. There will be 7 years of really serious persecution and suffering. But during that time, there will be people who will get saved. And then at the end of that 7 years, those who got saved and died during that 7 years, and those who were raptured out will meet Jesus as he's coming down, and then Jesus will set up what is called the millennial reign. And then after the millennial reign is the Battle of Armageddon, and then comes the Revelation chapter 21 and 22. So this dear sister that mentioned that kind of didn't realize that there was a whole lot of other things that were going on after the rapture and so on. But then there's other brothers and sisters in the Lord who believe that this rapture will happen midterm or mid-tribulation. So in other words, there'll be 3.5 years where it'll be a little easier. And then at the middle point of that 7 years of tribulation, Christians will be raptured out. And roughly then at the end of the 7 years, they'll meet Jesus, set up the millennial reign. So roughly, they believe in a lot of the same things. But then there's another group of dear brothers and sisters who believe that the rapture happens after the tribulation. So Christians will be here during this tribulation time. We will be not suffering from God's wrath, and God will protect us, spiritually speaking, from the wrath of the enemy during that time as well. And then Jesus will come, we'll reunite with him at the end of the tribulation, and then he'll set up a millennial reign. There are a couple differences in these two groups in regards to Israel and what God wants to do with Israel at the end, which I will talk about when I go on. But then there's another group of brothers and sisters, and these are called amillennialists. The amillennialists believe that the tribulation and the millennium started at Jesus' ascension way back in the book of Acts, way back over 2,000 years ago. They believe that the vast majority of the book of Revelation has symbols. It's symbolic about what's going to happen, and that it teaches basically the fight between good and evil while we're here on this earth. And then after God decides to finish history, as the tribulation and the millennium run together, when God decides to finish history, Jesus will come and then set up what we see in Revelation chapter 21 and 22, ending the millennium and ending the tribulation, and we will all then reign with Jesus. But then there's a fourth group, and I kind of like this. I wish this one was true, and I'm going to talk more about it later. It's called postmillennialism, and that simply means that these brothers mean that the gospel is going to continue to have a positive influence all through the world. Not everybody's going to get converted, but the influence of those who are converted, of those who walk with the Lord, will begin to change governments, begin to change cultures, and they basically will just usher in the new heavens and the new earth. So those are, in a nutshell, are the four views, and I'm going to expound on each view. Hopefully I can take about 5 to 7 minutes on each view in the next videos. God bless you now. Love you all, and Merry, Merry Christmas. Bye now.